Dude, you don't have to go that far just to prove that the cake wasn't a lie. We continue right from where we left off last week, and also letting us see the show's really awful green screening. I think Shoma just kind of disappeared there. But yeah, all of this wasn't exactly sitting well with Sachika, who was worried sick about him. Girl, stop. Span. Me. Fortunately, Hanto, who just kind of managed to sneak by the twins, eventually managed to find his fellow rider. However, he couldn't take him to a human hospital because from his perspective, Shoma was an augmented human just like him, which wasn't exactly the case, but still close enough. Fortunately, in Shoma's case, junk food was his main healing item, and it just so happened Hanto had some ramen candies on hand. And I'm not sure if this is intentional, probably not, but I kind of liked how one candy fell out of his mouth as though he was so hurt that he couldn't even chew properly. Still, even with one less candy, it was enough to get Shoma back to Sachika and their cake. She of course was worried over what had happened to him, but then just as quickly dropped the subject when Shoma made it sound like the cake was going to be his last supper, which, hey, at least he's eating a little better than Christ. But yeah, I think this look was meant to show that Sachika knew something bad was happening with Shoma, and if he wasn't willing to talk, well, may as well do what Marie Antoinette always says. And sure enough, the cake was both not a lie, and for Shoma at least, probably even better than the Yule log. Because for the writer, it was the first treat he had created with someone else, and not just something that connected back to his mother. I mean, sure, it was those memories with his mom that let him create his initial gochujos, hence why regular food didn't produce them. But ultimately, they would always be tragic memories that reminded him of what he had lost. And sure, while cakes were also something that she had introduced to him, this one was connected with someone a little more positive in his current life, Sachika. Someone who he could create new memories with, as well as new toys. Plus, you know, Kyakeru and all that. I mean, just look at the weapon. However, the happy times would eventually have to come to an end when the twins' agents launched another attack and also left a message that only Grand Newts could read. Thus, the writers decided to head out, much to the concern of Sachika, who even offered to go with them with her bedazzled bat. Yeah, girl, why do you even have such a cutesy, yet still very violent weapon like that? I mean, if you are going to become a rider, you can at least wait until the toy manufacturers make something that's at least approved for safety. See? Not turning into light. But yeah, this is both kind of an awesome moment for Sachika, who was more than willing to throw down, and a heartwarming one for Shoma to really highlight their relationship. Unfortunately, his bonds with Hanto were a little more rocky by comparison, as not only did he again hide his true heritage, he also withheld intel about the Stomach family that his partner could really use. Instead, he just pulled another Martha moment out of his hat, which was enough to distract him. Yeah, things are really gonna go south between these riders, isn't it? For now though, the Gochujos had managed to track down Hanto's fountain buddy from the last episode. Seriously, I can't get over that scene. So Shoma had him deal with it, and the two at least separated with a good old fist bump. With that, Shoma confronted his siblings, who as usual wanted to gaslight their little brother. Granted, they also did reveal a rather unfortunate backstory. Yeah, I still don't think these two deserve any sort of sympathy. Regardless, there was no denying that their whole family, minus Shoma and his mom, sucked, as after young Shoma left during that flashback from the last episode, so did their older siblings who just ditched the twins after doing, I wouldn't even say the bare minimum for their birthday. And on top of that, the fact that Shoma got the attention of not just their deadbeat dad, but also a woman who they probably viewed as a homewrecker, it would only make sense that they develop a very codependent relationship. Okay, I see where this is going. Shoma's gonna feel bad for these bitches and show them mercy and... Oh yeah, I almost forgot who was writing this show. Yeah, again, I really like this Komura subversion, as we'll call it, as it highlights that while these villains may have a reason for their actions, that doesn't necessarily mean it's also a justification. In this case, while yes, the Stomach family was a toxic cesspool, and these two were the unfortunate byproduct of it, it didn't excuse that they also participated in killing Shoma's mother, along with many, many others. Thus, not only does the rider have the right to avenge his mother, but also a duty to find justice for all of their other victims. Meanwhile, Hanto met with his new boyfriend. Seriously, dude, this is becoming way too much of a pattern with you. Anyway, he ended up laying the crab angle after being distracted when he brought up the Stomach family. Yeah, again, the relationship between the writers of this show are a ticking time bomb. Back with Shoma, we got another great 2-on-1 fight, where I think they might have been able to recycle that broken shoulder pad from a few episodes back to really highlight the damage that he was taking. Thus, of course, he had to break out a new Gochizo, and as I said, a toy right out of Kira Kira Precure a la mode. Though, I think even Ichika would say that's way too much cream. That said, I do really like the design of this CaKing form. While the mother had drawn a crown over a picture of a cake to symbolize how it was her favorite dessert, the son took it a little more literally and turned it into a pretty blinging king form that even the Osama Sentai would approve of. The white and gold colors pop very nicely and also cleverly tie back to the cake covered in royal icing. Top that off with strawberries acting as jewels in the armor, and you get a pretty sweet upgrade form. Statistically, it was of course Gavv's overall strongest form so far, which still doesn't make him particularly strong. Yeah, it's worth mentioning that this rider has been given stats that even in this form only puts him on par with Kuga's growing form. Fortunately, he at least had a few extra hacks to give him the advantage. Though, I think this one kind of needs to lay off the cake. What, I just do it for the reviews. But yeah, the idea that a rider can create his own foot soldiers is pretty cool, and while goofy looking, I do get a kick out of these whip soldiers.
Whoa! Clean up on aisle U!
The battle ended up being watched by both Hanto and Evil Philip, who also managed to snatch a few Gochizos earlier in the episode. Huh, kind of reminds me of a certain someone. Well, anyway, after dealing with the agents, all that was left were the twins, and again, while these two don't deserve any sort of sympathy, I do like that Shoma still naturally felt bad that he had to take out his own siblings, and even briefly imagine a world where they could have gotten along, but sadly, that wasn't reality.
Why didn't you die?
Jeep managed to escape thanks to Shoma hesitating and also running out of calories. Thus, the riders headed home where Sachika proved to be best mommy and made them all dinner. So, happy times for them, and not so much for Jeep, who I think was legit having a hard time cutting his hair with the prop knife. Like, I get that you're trying to be dramatic, but maybe try something a little sharper next time there, dude. With that though, the episode ended with Suga pondering if Hanto should also get a new form, and fortunately, he would get some help from...
こんばんは。菅さん。
This was a pretty awesome debut for a new form, and a strong conclusion to the twins' arc, for now at least. There was plenty of really good action, and even some strong emotional bits involving the three youngest members of the Stomach family. I especially like that they made it clear that while you can feel empathy for the twins, forgiveness is a different thing altogether. Honestly, I think it's actually a crueler punishment for the twins to have one of them survive and live on with the feeling that they'll always be half of what they used to be. And again, while I don't think they deserved any sort of sympathy, I did like that we got the backstory, if only to further highlight the toxicity of the family. By doing so, it only further highlighted how much Shoma had overcome in order to be better than all of them. On that note, I also like how his new form was created with the idea that it was superior to the others as it symbolized his new life with friends like Sachika. It was still connected to his mother, who he should never forget, but also symbolized a brighter future that waited beyond her. As a result, the CaKing form was rightfully just awesome, with a great design and more unique powers for a rider. Low-key, it was also cool to see Sachika being gung-ho enough that she almost entered the battle herself. Like really, at this point, she should become a rider. It would certainly help if things end up going south with Hanto, which they seem to be hinting at both with Shoma still withholding intel from him, and the reveal that Suga was working with Neville. It's all really interesting, and likely building to some great stuff later. For now though, this is a really good episode, and temporary conclusion to the twins arc. Jeep will more than likely be back, but first he needs to get cleaned up, and maybe find a proper pair of scissors. Thanks for watching again. Hey, y'all wanna know what's on my Christmas list? Yeah, that's what I thought. Though honestly, I hope the holidays are treating y'all nicely, and that you will be able to coerce the big red man to give you everything on your list this year. Look forward to whatever comes next on this channel, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and if you'll excuse me, I think I need to work on my decoration skills for next year.